In this devlog, you'll see me develop a base building system for my game, which includes building rooms, corridors, machines, and furniture. Let's get into it. The initial home base I created for the game was static, meant to just serve as a simple hub for the drill to dock at. I didn't initially intend for any base building mechanics, but prior to committing to it, I have been thinking that allowing the hub to be built up by the player would add another layer of functionality that this game may need. They could build their base however they wish, allowing a sense of creative freedom to motivate them to further progress and enjoy the game. And a little scope creep never hurt anyone, right? So off I went and thought about how this could be done, and using inspiration from games like Subnautica and Planet Crafter, I decided on a room-based system. You'll be able to expand the base from within by adding rooms and then corridors to connect the rooms. Firstly, I went off to my debug scene and developed a simple tile-based room system where rooms can be added and removed and the walls will be configured around them. I then added corridors, which would connect up adjacent rooms, and added columns to the corners of each room. Once that was all done, I added a proper first-person handler for the system, making it highlight the walls where the rooms will be built. I also added the ability to change a wall's type, allowing them to be replaced with windowed walls. This is the point where I created the build tool, so you can see what you are building. Currently, there is no on-screen UI in the game, and all the interactions with UI are within world space, and I wanted to keep it that way. So I made the build tool so that it shows a little screen to indicate what mode you are on. I'm not super happy with how this screen looks, but it'll do for now. I then went on to implement object placement and deletion. You can primarily build objects on the floor, but some will be required to snap to walls, so I implemented that as well. Now the core system was developed, it was time to bring it into the main game. I made proper walls, floors, windows, and ceilings, and made a special drill access door. I then added a whole bunch of different furniture pieces, such as desks, chairs, beds, and plants. I added resource costs, so each thing you build will require a certain number of resources from the hub's inventory. And if you don't have the resources, well then you can't build it. It was then time to re-implement all the previous hub's functionality as buildable objects. The first was the refinery, which takes ore from the hub's storage and refines it into metal. I went with the same style as the previous one, using conveyor belts to see the ore go in and the metal come out. I added a little screen so you can choose which ore to refine, and an interactable switch to initiate bringing the ore in. You can place as many of these refineries as you can afford, but I plan to implement power requirements in the future to limit this. I then converted the drill upgrade terminal to be buildable. It wasn't too hard and it still works as it did before. I then added a new hub inventory screen that you can place on the wall and easily see what resources you have. I also created icons for each resource, as you can see, to more easily distinguish between them. The last thing I did was improve the build and destroy effects, adding better object highlights and outlines. I'm pretty happy with how it has all turned out in the end, and look forward to adding more machines, terminals, and furniture in the future. Well, that wraps it up for this devlog, and I'll see you in the next one.